Fareway values family, and we treat our employees and our customers like their family.
If you're looking for a place to shop, our service is amazing.
We have put an emphasis on hiring good people.
One of the things that we talk about is just doing the right thing.
And that is so key to this day and age.
Fareway just isn't about selling groceries. It's about taking care of people.
That, to me, is the best thing we can do at Fareway.
Parker McCullum. Burn It Down Tour 2024, June 27th, Wells Fargo Arena. ACM Best New Artist, Parker McCullum Live, with special guest Corey Kent. On sale now at IowaEventCenter.com. Parker McCullum Live.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa Everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
Hello, welcome to Two Guys here. It is Monday morning, the 17th of June. My name is Chris Williams. I'm joined by Chris Hassel. We are presented by our friends at Fareway Meat and Grocery in the Channel Seed Studio. How you doing today, brother? Just sit around and watch golf all weekend?
Doing well. I watched every shot. Well, every shot I could. NBC didn't show every shot, but I watched that whole thing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yesterday was an incredible viewing day. I mean, you had the Caitlin Clark game early, then the U.S. Open, then your little NASCAR event. It's pretty good.
It's funny. I didn't watch a single stroke of golf in 4 days. And I'm not like bragging about it. I would have liked to have. But I was out at the track, and then Maddie and I each had our daughter's dance recitals coming up, which were on Sunday. And these dance recitals are like an all-weekend thing. Like they're kind of a pain in the ass. Like, it was fun. It's fun to go watch them. But
they had a dance recital on Father's Day? Is that by design?
Every year. Every year.
They make the dads cry on Father's Day.
Oh, God, that sounds horrible.
Well, and like, I'd like to think that now that Iowa's got a cup race, they're going to try and move that, right? Like, I mean, isn't that
You really think they're going to do that? Well, you know what? There's a NASCAR race today. We better not have our dance recital. By the way,
I just think it's courteous.
I can't let this go any further because the comments are just blowing up about your headset. Williams has this huge clunky headset on. Dragonfly says you look like you're taking orders at McDonald's.
It's our old podcasting headset, but it's better than. You all want better sound quality for the podcast, and this is better than me yelling into the computer.
Wow, Williams getting feisty already. Getting feisty. So Cole, and I don't understand this comment, but some might. Cole says that you're evolving like a Pokemon. What does that mean?
With the headset, maybe he went from the little dangly earbuds to the full-on headset. Maybe.
What does that have to do with the Pokemon?
Evolve? Yeah,
what
does that even mean?
they evolve into different stages. So they start a little small Pokemon, and they get bigger as they get stronger and more powerful. Just,
to be honest, I didn't
Hassel's
want to
into the
yell into that
Pokemon.
thing.
I've never seen
SpongeBob SquarePants.
I do know about
Pokemon.
SpongeBob now. I don't know anything about Pokemon other than there's a Pikachu. That's about it.
My oldest daughter's a little bit better.
Gotta
a little
catch 'em all.
bit into that stuff, but not. None of my kids are really too into that, but yeah.
To be honest, though, I am happy you're wearing the headset so you don't have to hold that stupid cord thing so it doesn't touch your beard.
I tell you what,
how close are we to getting the full shebang back?
Well, I'm back in my office, if you can see.
That's good. Yeah, you're no longer, like, one day you were outside.
So I did make progress over the weekends. I got all the, like, shelving back up down here. We're making progress. Like I told you, I thought it would be July, and my office will be 100% in working order, hopefully by our nation's Independence Day.
It's nice to see the Paul Rhodes picture still made it on the wall. I'm glad
that
didn't get thrown.
That hasn't moved. The wall
Oh.
stuff is pretty consistent, so yeah. But yeah, we'll coach Paul Rhodes, baby.
Ben says pretty soon CW is just going to have a full-on racing helmet on.
I wish. God. Can we start there? That race was fucking awesome last
We're really
night,
starting
man.
with NASCAR. God damn.
Yes.
I mean,
We have to lead with this. So the state of Iowa's waited 25 years for this. It's sold out. It's this amazing weekend. It really couldn't have gone better. I told you on Thursday, I really thought all those drivers were being babies and that this would be a good race. It turns out to be the best short track race we've seen in NASCAR in years. It was awesome. And everybody's paying attention. Everybody's in their seats. And on lap 3, the Hawk car spins out. Just boom. Maddie, do you have video of the Hawk car spinning out?
I wasn't watching.
The most heinous paint job in NASCAR history. Look at that.
But I
ugly
kept
piece of
getting
shit.
all of these notifications that the Hawk car is. I was like, who the hell? Who's Hawk? Hawk? I thought there was a guy named Hawk. And I'm like, why are you telling me? And then I see it. The Iowa Hawkeye car.
Look at that thing. Look at that thing.
Just totally goes flaccid in like the first 3 laps. 3 and out. Did he just spin out on his own?
Just like Fran McCaffrey in the NCAA tournament. Just
the guy sitting next to me, he knew who I was and that I was a Cyclone fan, and he was a Hawk, and we're having a good time with it. And we were doing like this drawing, and I said to the group before, I go, if I draw that fucking Hawk car, I'm giving it away. I won't win with it. And we're just kidding around, just bullshitting. And the guy next to me, English says, was Deacon Hill driving? The old boy next to me goes, that fucking Brian Ferentz must have been driving that son of a bitch.
And he was a Hawkeye fan?
Oh, yeah. He was a Hawk, yeah. Most people around me
So
were at that.
why was there a Hawkeye car but not a Cyclone car?
He said the same thing, and he was like talking shit. I go, well, we're poor. Sorry.
so.
I don't know what to tell you.
The
Like,
sponsor of that driver was Gainbridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Gainbridge is a big Caitlin Clark. They're out
Correct.
in Indianapolis, and they.
So was he the
sponsor
guy
Caitlin
that came out in the
Clark.
Caitlin Clark jersey?
Probably.
Oh,
There was a
back to
driver
that.
that
Yeah.
came out in the jersey.
I can tell you who the driver is if I see it. Yeah, that's Corey LaJoy. Yeah, that's the same guy. So Gamebridge just signed Caitlin Clark to an endorsement deal. So they were they should have just made it a Caitlin Clark car.
Yes.
That's what they should have done.
Yes, absolutely.
I think they throw around the track just like Caitlin Clark does on the court,
And then,
though.
and then the
Jeez.
Angel Reese car would have just
Oh, my
slammed right
God.
in front of her
Oh, Jesus.
under caution.
I watched that
Jesus.
whole game.
See, I couldn't. We're at dance recital at the time, but I was following it. And, I've told you, my sister is this huge Iowa State women's basketball. She's really the person who got me into Iowa State women's basketball. My sister is. And way before this, back when I was an Iowa fan. And she comes to me at intermission and grabs me. She's like, did you see what Angel Reese did? She's like, fucking Caitlin's out there just tearing up the league right now, setting more records. And that Angel Reese attacked her on the court today. And I was like, no, I didn't see anything. I gotta check this out. So yeah, we had that going on. But yeah, no, it was a great weekend. We'll get to the Caitlin Angel thing. We're also going to today. Hassel and I have gone through and ranked our top 5 most interesting Iowa and Iowa State football games. We will do that today. But yeah, no, I had a really good weekend. I was just at the track. I went to Knoxville for a night. I was at Iowa a couple times. But it really was awesome for our state, though. That was a really big event. Yeah, I actually think you would have enjoyed it. I got to sit in a suite with our friends from Musco.
I noticed that.
Yeah,
I noticed that.
It was freaking awesome.
I heard you were going suite to suite. You went suite Iowa Speedway, suite Knoxville. You're no longer part of the common man that you preach about. The ones that get dirty out there. You sit in the stands.
The common man.
Smell that gasoline.
I was outside, so I could still smell the gasoline. The common man, if it's 100 degrees and you offered him to go and have air conditioning during cautions, the common man's going to take it. The common man's not an idiot.
What
That's
do you mean
the
during
thing.
cautions? You're saying you only went to the suite during caution?
Pretty much, because I like to watch the race, Hassel.
But you're
Like,
still sitting in the suite to watch the race, aren't you?
But there's indoor and outdoor sections of the suite. I like to sit in the outdoor. I like to hear.
Man, this
there's
suite
nothing,
it's got an indoor and an outdoor. Does it have free food and free drink?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's nothing like the feeling.
Were they
when you get
mixing
home.
cocktails? You had a martini in your hand.
No.
Watching this race, didn't you?
Busch Light all weekend, baby.
No way.
All weekend. That's all I drank. I did yesterday when I got to the track and it was 150. I did go down to the Newton Club and I got a vodka lemonade just to, get things started. It was.
So were you
very
in the
refreshing.
suite for every single race?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you need to turn in your man of the people card.
No. Because, again, like, the thing is, like, the people, if they would have had the opportunity, they would have gone to the suite, too. They're not idiots. They're not stupid. I don't have to sit in the suite, but if it's offered to me, I'm not going to turn it down.
And the other thing was, it looked like you were 50-yard line. You were
we were
finish
50
line.
yards. Yeah. Thanks again to my friend Vaughn at Musco. Good people up there.
Like,
and then my old man's the one you need to give the most shit to, because I took him.
He was in the suite with you?
Yeah, so this was his Father's Day present, the weekend of racing. And I have a photo, I should have sent it to you guys, of my old man eating broccoli and celery in the suite during a cup race. And I said, we come a long ways from the Adams County Speedway, scarfing down 2 double cheeseburgers and 6 beers, eh? It was a great week. Honestly, I'm not even, like, I'll be sentimental. At the start of that cup race yesterday, it was me and my old man. It was one of the best moments of my life. Like, you know me well enough to know, like, that this was a dream of mine forever to have this race in Iowa. And the fact that, like, that guy took me to thousands of races all over the country. Our summer vacation when we were kids, we would go to NASCAR races, okay? Like, and then I could kind of, in my own way, like, repay him. Like, it was cool. It was a neat moment.
Well,
Fully
I'm glad.
wrecked. And then that car,
I'm
and then
glad
that hot car wrecked, and it made it even better.
Were there cheers when that thing wrecked?
Cheers and jeer. Yeah, there was. We had a lot going on there. All the Iowa State fans stood up and went crazy when that thing happened.
By the way, look at Mike Williams has got the earbud in, listening. He must be listening to the race, or are those to cancel out the noise?
Nope. He's listening to the race on the scanner.
Love it.
And then
nice.
I love when you come home from the races, though, and your eardrums are just swollen.
Shut up. Stop.
They're just vibrating. It's one of the great feelings in life. Everybody should have that.
I called my dad last night. It was after the golf, and so the race had already been going, and he's like, "Have you seen that fucking Williams all over Twitter? Have you seen that guy? Is he being serious? Is he being serious about this being the best day of his life, and about how much he's been there all weekend? You know that, don't you? He wasn't there just today. He was there on Friday and Saturday too. What is his deal?
Practice on Friday. That's a real diehard.
It's like, how can he? I said, Dad, racing is his favorite sport. He likes racing more than football. I said, yeah, I think so. It's like, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
He texted me, by the way, a picture of him throwing out the flowers that I gave him. It was very sentimental.
Oh, yeah, he did say he finally had to get rid of the flowers and the balloons that you sent him in the hospital.
Very sentimental moment.
They lasted over a month.
Quality. I wish I could give a shout out to that company that I bought them from. I don't even remember, but some flower shop in Davenport. All right. So let's do Caitlin Clark real quick, and then we'll get to our list. Are you cool? Are you cool with that?
Yeah. This is again, if you didn't know, or if you're listening to this later, you probably do by now. This is again going to be the hot button issue of the day, which is
nationally.
Yes. This will be all over the First Takes and all the talking shows. It's going to be on CNN. It's going to be on Fox News. It's going to be everywhere. Why? Because of just a flagrant one, what I believe is an innocent flagrant one foul on Angel Reese. I didn't think there was anything to it other than she's going for the ball. She knocks Caitlin in the head. They make the right call by upgrading it to a flagrant one. But, of course, on both sides, the dialogue has just been out of control. There have been people saying that she needs to be suspended. That's ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
Come on, somebody actually thought that.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people
Really?
think that. Yes.
Jeez.
That she should be suspended for that.
Well,
But then you have Angel herself after the game basically arguing the call, saying that Caitlin gets this special whistle. And come on, how do you that's clearly a flagrant one. You might not have done it on purpose, and I don't think she did. It's not that big a deal. Like, why can't we just have a game where something like that happens? Caitlin's teammates come over, help her up. Angel Reese says, yep, it was a basketball play, and that's that. No, it's got to be just all this other shit from both sides. Every time.
we were having our text conversation that kind of came to me last week, and which we've talked about this, but it was after Caitlin's deal where she was asked the two questions and she answered one way and then a follow-up another, and you saw all the the media with their clear objectives that start, if it's like the Outkick guys, they're going one way, if it's MSNBC, they're going another, and it's just really gross how these people are almost hijacking her life.
Mm-hmm.
I said to you the other night, they're hijacking her career. They're hijacking her life. They're putting her inside of their disgusting political, initiatives. And I also say this from a media standpoint, we give guys like Matt Campbell a lot of shit because he doesn't ever say anything interesting, right? It's our fault for the most part. And when I say that, it's the media, because we do things like this to people where they could talk for 40 minutes, like Caitlin did in this 25-minute TV or this session the other day. She talked for 25 minutes. And if you pull 15 seconds and then you frame it the way you want it to come off, they're never going to talk again once they get burned a couple times like this. And they're humans and they don't forget. And it's just like Caitlin's life is being hijacked by these people with these very polarizing and oftentimes, race baiting conversations. It's horrible. I feel horrible for her
And again, it's on both sides, and none of it is Caitlin's fault. None of it.
It's like there's the anti-Caitlin deal and then there's the one, and they're using her name to be misogynistic, and it's horrible. I'd never seen anything like this in sports. Maybe it happened with Ali, and I'm saying back in the day when there were all these real hardcore social issues going on in sports, but she's tried to stay out of all of this.
Yeah, look at yesterday, just as a small example, just one day. That was one of the best games she has played, one of the best games her team has played. It was on national TV on CBS. It's going to do record ratings. It was a good game, back and forth. They beat the Sky. They're now they're playing some decent basketball. They've won 4 of 6. They're in position now to make a run at the playoffs later this season. And I think right now, if the thing ended, I think they might be in the playoffs because there's 8 of the 12 teams go. She was great. 23 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. Turnovers were okay. She had 5 turnovers. She's had much worse games than that. And a couple of the turnovers were not her fault. She was 7 of 11 from the floor. She didn't press anything. She didn't fall for anything. It should have just all been good. And yet, you just turn on the TV today, you pull up social media today, and it is a shit show again. And I don't know how this stops. I don't know how.
Well, and it doesn't help. So Caitlin, I think just wants to play ball is what it certainly feels like.
Yes, and she said that in that interview, and she got killed for saying
Yeah.
that she just wants to play basketball.
So then, the one player put out that really, I forgot her name, the tweet about her. She
What,
didn't
you-
mention her.
You talking about Carrington from the Sun?
Yeah, the whole silence is a privilege, or and I understand that point of view. I do. In 2020, when all that stuff happened, like I read a bunch of books trying to like understand that stuff more and trying to evolve as you. I understand that point of view, but let me go with this. Like I just feel like Reese is the type where she says one thing and does another a lot. Is what it feels like. I don't know. Weren't her and Caitlin like buddies like 2 months ago, and now? Saying stuff that she's saying and her actions certainly don't match up with it. So my point is, like, this is interesting. I think rivalries are good, right? Like, this is good for sports to a point, but I don't want it to be this Angel Reese stands for one.
This is
getting toxic. It's very toxic. I don't like it.
It's way past getting there. It just is. And gosh, I can't imagine what this is putting Caitlin through. I can't. She was asked about her mental health before the game, and she gave a great answer. But it's just
what is your read on
even on
Reese?
Her best day? Her best
like is
day.
Reese,
this happens.
Do you think Reese is playing into this, or do you think?
Oh,
she's
there's
just...
no question. I mean, she wore Joker shoes for the game. She wore shoes that were Joker themed.
And again, I get it, like, for
and that's
the
fine.
entertainment. Yeah.
That's fine to play it. You want to be the, because she does. She'll every now and then she will say, "Yes, I want to be the villain." Yeah, I'm fine playing the villain. But then she'll have a moment like after the national championship or after Iowa knocked them out in the Elite Eight, where she, says she's being unfairly treated. And I don't know what goes on in behind the scenes in her personal life, but I think Caitlin is handling this better than anyone else.
Can I say another thing too? Like, and correct me if I'm wrong. I did not get to watch the game. I watched all the highlights and have read about it. Did it when that hard foul happens? Did anybody get in Angel Reese's face? Did anybody from the Fever do anything?
No. They did go and help Caitlin up.
I don't know. Maybe yeah, okay. There you go. Watching the highlight right now. Thank you, Van Winks. It just feels like that there's not a lot of fire from that Fever bench towards her.
No. And I don't know what that means.
I don't either. You could read into it. We truly don't know.
And we have.
Anything.
And it's too bad. A game like that, it should have just been a great day for Caitlin Clark. And it's going to turn into another bad day today of discourse.
The Fever are actually quietly having a decent run here. They've won 4 of their last 6, and they're in the playoff picture now.
And
so
Caitlin and Aaliyah Boston have started to connect the way we thought that they would going into the season. Like it was really slow, but Boston has been great the last 2 games, and she's starting to find her a little bit more inside, like that old Clark to Sonano connection. And so that is a good thing. I mean, it's getting interesting as far as the Fever not being the worst team in the league and able to win games like this. But unfortunately, they're not going to be talking about the wins and losses or Caitlin's stat line after this one.
Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery. I saw all sorts of meat out there at the track, man. The tailgating for that place yesterday was just incredible. It was an amazing scene out there.
Really? Tailgating, was it like a football game?
Oh, yeah. Probably, honestly, more because it was a night race. So I would say half the people had camped there all weekend, and then you have it's just fields everywhere of campers.
How many people were there?
Maddie, will you look up what Iowa Speedway? It was sold out. Every day was sold out this weekend. So, like, it was just crazy. And there's campers everywhere and just Fareway meat just smoking everywhere throughout those lots. Did see a lot of Channel Seed hats as well. Shout out to our friends at Channel Seed. And want to give a shout out to our friends at Game Day Men's Health as well over there in Ankeny, West Des Moines, and in North Liberty. Hassel will be going to the West Palm Beach elitist Game Day Men's Health. I'm just kidding.
I think that's the same one Trump goes to.
The Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
They have a Game Day Men's Health inside of Mar-a-Lago. God's honest truth. I got a note from my buddy Bill Morris at Game Day Men's Health, who's a great guy. And we have listeners through either here or Cyclone Fanatic that have signed up in like Atlanta, Denver, because there's Game Day Men's Health all throughout the country, and they're getting in there and getting their free testosterone checks, and then they'll go from there. But I feel great. I've been doing it for about 5-6 weeks now, and I feel like I'm 16 again, just running around.
16 again?
Backflips. No,
jeez.
Just kidding.
Van Wink says 40,000 fans. I guess that must be like the paid attendance.
So it's probably 50,000 people with all the hospitality tents and stuff like that. And they did a good job with these tents that are all around the track and stuff, and like the premium sections. It felt very Formula One-ish too, how you remember you think NASCAR is just like rednecks and like, but like half the stuff now is premium.
Well,
so
as witnessed by you sitting there in the suite the whole time.
Giddy up.
How was the Kid Rock concert? They had that after
none
the
of
race,
that,
right?
No, none of that. I found out that you do that, you're all going to get kicked out. They did have concerts though. It was cool. They had pre and post race concerts all weekend. But that's the thing about NASCAR though. It's actually popular. It's not like IndyCar. Sorry, my buddy Jeff Wood. I know he's going to pay attention. He was giving me shit about this, but like the IndyCar, they have to bring in like Luke Combs, and then the people. Like, these people are just there for the race, which is what's impressive.
So they don't. So you're saying they don't have to go get a big name?
No, it's just like random local bands playing country music and rock. Like, it's not. There's no Tim McGraw concert to get people to go to the race. But anyways, Game Day Men's Health, appreciate them. And then again, we're gonna keep telling you about them. But this is safe. They do a really good job. This is not your run of the mill. We're going to go and shoot some testosterone up your ass and never check on you. They're going to run your blood. They're going to do all that good stuff and take good care of you. Shout out to my friends at Game Day Men's Health. Let's do our triple B, and then we will go into
bigger, better, bolder.
Bigger, better, bolder. Powered by Kelderman Manufacturing.
Who do you got, Hassel?
What? You're going to go with me first?
Yeah.
I haven't even decided yet.
Okay, I'll go Rusty Wallace.
Yeah, let's keep this Iowa Speedway thing going.
Creator of the Iowa Speedway.
Wait, hang on. Does he still have something to do with the Iowa Speedway? I know he was the guy back in the day that did it all, because I was there. I was covering the thing when this thing opened.
So he's a broadcaster now. He's part of the like NASCAR radio team.
Okay.
And I was listening on my scanner before the race, and he was like, I don't know if he was crying on the broadcast, but he was damn close to it, because this was always the dream of everybody. This is a funny story. I was interning with Keith Murphy and Andy Fales when they were breaking ground.
So this would have been like 06, right?
Yeah.
Right before I got there. I got there 07.
Anytime anything had to do with auto racing, Keith and Andy would just be like, fuck. Williams, fucking Williams kid, send him out there. He actually likes this shit. And they sent me out there to the groundbreaking. I'll never forget that. I was there with Rusty Wallace interviewing him for the groundbreaking.
At the time, that was the greatest day of your life, correct?
Oh, I was like, yeah, this is fantastic.
KCCI's got this great video of Rusty Wallace.
This is the video?
Test drive. This is from KCCI, but this is the same day you must be talking about.
I was out there.
This looks like it's from like 1989. Look at this.
Yeah. I remember I got yelled
cool.
at too because it was a construction zone,
Uh-huh.
and I had flip-flops on. Nobody told me I couldn't wear sandals. And some guy yelled at me, "Hey, you can't go back there with those." And I was like, "Well, what? I'm not."
Wait, you were working at WHO for Keith and Andy, and you came in wearing flip-flops?
I was an intern. I didn't know. I was an idiot.
Jeez.
You ever just look back at pictures of
Yeah,
yourself and
yes.
just want to, like, just strangle yourself?
Oh, my God.
Oh, I was such a douchebag back in the day. Still am. But, yeah, no, so I'm listening to that, and Rusty, like, he really loves the state of Iowa. He spent a ton of his life here building that thing, and I remember how far away we all felt like we were at that point, and then he was there, and it was a cool moment. So Rusty Wallace, Triple B, Kelderman Manufacturing. Who do you got,
right.
Maddie? Maddie, I'll let you go.
I'm gonna go baseball again,
Oh, Jesus.
but not Major League Baseball. Have you guys been following any of
No,
the College World
I have
Series
not.
stuff?
Nope.
No.
So
Don't
in
have
the,
time for it.
so in the first couple days, there were back to back walk off game winning games in that. Williams, I know you kind of grew up around that.
Yeah, I've
Rosenblatt
World Series.
was
Absolutely
was awesome, and
I heard it's an incredible event.
it's so
to
cool
go
if you have time to go over to Omaha and go to some
Yes.
games. It's totally worth your time. It's awesome.
absolutely, and it's pretty cheap to get in, especially if you're going the first couple weeks.
What?
But
First
yeah.
How long does this thing last?
I think it goes 3 weeks, doesn't it?
What?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if it goes that far, but it's close. Yeah, because
it goes mid-June into the first week of July, I think.
it's like a tournament.
What, this is
Yeah.
longer than the Olympics?
I don't. It's a good product. I liked it, like the product, in my opinion. Maddie, you probably was better at Rosenblatt because Rosenblatt was like the way the wind was, and they all played with they can't use metal bats in college now, right?
Oh, of course they do.
Oh, do they? Well,
Oh, yeah.
okay. I don't. It shows you how much college. In Rosenblatt, man, they'd
It's
hit
2
like
weekends,
five.
by the way, according to
They'd
Cody.
hit
2
like
weekends.
5 home runs a game in Rosenblatt. Ping! And it'd just be gone. They don't hit as many home runs in this ballpark. But we would, in high school, we'd sit out there and get the GA, and you'd sit out and hopefully somebody would spill a beer and you could go over and grab the rest of it. We had a hell of a time back there.
Just
North
lick
Carolina-
the beer off the ground.
North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky all walked it off, and there was like the fourth game I think was somebody robbed a home run to save a game. So some good energy out in Omaha, and I got to get out there. I love going out to
Even when I loved
College World
baseball,
Series.
even when baseball was my favorite sport, which it was for a while growing up, I did not ever care about college baseball because Iowa was so far below any of these. You're really not in the same. Yeah, you're in the same league, but you're really not. Right? This is a Southern sport. Iowa State didn't even have a baseball team. If I didn't have a connection to it through college sports, I didn't love it. That's why I love football and basketball, because there were Iowa programs that did.
I tell you what, though,
level.
where I'm from, like, it's a big deal. Like, there are
Well,
people,
yeah, you're right there. What are you, an hour away from Omaha?
Yeah,
Over
there are
in,
people who go every year. It's like their vacation, and then they, you come to. We used to go when South Carolina would play. Like, that was how I remember it as a kid. Whenever the Gamecocks made it, we would, and they were a really good program. But then, like, it was, you always had to, like, pick a team. We'd have, like, pools. It would be like, oh, Rice made it this year. We're all going to root for the Owls. It was fun. I remember the one year Nebraska made it. It was really cool. Like, it just completely blew that place up over there in Omaha.
Iowa State baseball has won a College World Series game more recently than Iowa has.
Yeah,
just so you know.
Because it's a club sport, right? You're talking about the club
No,
sport?
Iowa State baseball won a College World Series game in 1970. Iowa's only been once.
Oh, okay.
Are you serious, Matt? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Iowa's
That's
been to the
pretty
College
cool.
World Series once, 1972.
And they
Wow.
still shuttered the program. Man, oh, man.
Would you rather have a NASCAR with your team's logo on it spin out on lap 3, or not have a team with your logo on it at all, or a car?
I don't know. It was low-hanging fruit yesterday on social media for a lot of people when that Hawkeye car spun out. All
My
right.
dad says to me, he goes, when we're walking out, 'cause Chase Elliott's our guy. He got 3rd. He's like, pretty goddamn good day, son. Chase got in the top 5. Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch both sucked, and that fucking Hawkeye car spun out on lap 3. Pretty good day.
And we were eating finger foods in the suite.
Dad's just munching broccoli. It's like, what are you doing? They got meat over there.
Well, as I mentioned, I watched every shot of the U.S. Open over the weekend.
Yeah, will you give me a rundown from your so I saw Bryson won, and then I had tickets on Rory and Finau from like Wednesday night. I bet on them, and I saw their contention.
Finau was close. He got, I mean, and obviously Rory should have won it. I'm giving my triple B to Bryson DeChambeau for just an incredible performance. In the shot he hit on the 72nd hole from 50-plus yards out, greenside bunker, got to get up and down to win the U.S. Open and avoid going to a playoff. That will go down as one of the greatest shots in golf history. And just the way that he has completely rehabbed his image. This was a guy that people hated a couple of years ago. There was the feud between him and Brooks Koepka, and everybody was on Koepka's side. And it just seemed like Bryson was this just total weirdo who couldn't relate to anybody. Well, now he's like a fan favorite. There were more people rooting for Bryson than for Rory McIlroy. Who would have guessed that 2 years ago?
So that book that I was telling you about, the Live Golf book that Shupnick wrote, God, Bryson comes off as a total douche in that book.
And he has somehow, in a really short period of time, remember he was the fan favorite at the PGA Championship when he lost by a stroke to Xander Schauffele. More people were rooting for Bryson than American Xander Schauffele. I mean, Bryson's a live guy. And in this tournament, he was so good, so entertaining, like interacting with the crowd the whole way. And I was kind of torn between him and Rory. I did want to see Rory snap that 10-year drought, but like Rory missed 2 gimme putts on the final 3 holes and totally blew it. And then he skipped out on the media. He didn't even speak to the media afterwards. Wow. Just went straight to his car. He's had a lot of
divorce thing.
Yeah, well, apparently they've reconciled. But it has been it's been a stressful couple of years for him, between with the divorce, with the major drought, with the Live Golf PGA Tour debacle. And he's looked pretty bad in a lot of this because he was so against it, and all these people jumping, and now, boy, I don't know how you come back from this.
Let me ask you
this is going to be tough.
Rory McIlroy, let's say 2008.
Mm-hmm.
If I tell you his career's gone the way that it has, is that not one of the more shocking turns in golf history? I mean, come on. We thought that guy, I didn't think he was the next Tiger, but he was the guy who was going to carry the torch. And for some ways he has, but the championships are not there.
Yeah, I mean, he won those 4 really fast from 2011 to 2014. He won 4. And
okay, so my years are off. So
yeah, if you would have said that maybe 2013,
okay, I'm sorry about that. My years are off.
The same sort of thing happened with Jordan Spieth. I mean, he was just
great point.
He had a stretch where no one was better, and now who knows? Like I didn't think that Rory could possibly go 10 years without a major. I didn't think Jordan Spieth would go. How long has he gone now? 8 years without a major. I mean, it's been a while since Jordan Spieth has been the guy that he was. It's just the game of golf is wild. Like to see Scotty Scheffler struggle like he did. People were actually asking, who would you rather have in this tournament, Scotty Scheffler or the field? And the guy barely makes the cut. Doesn't make a birdie in like maybe 3 of his 4 rounds. He didn't have a birdie. And then there's Bryson, who's just bombing it all over the place. He could not find a fairway. He was in the native grass every hole, and he was somehow still able to keep it together and win this tournament. I thought it was one of the best major championships I've ever seen.
Wow. Damn it. I'm sorry that I missed it.
It was so good. The drama between Bryson and Rory, they weren't in the same group. Rory was a group ahead. And just, I don't know. I wasn't sure how I would feel about the course because it's different. It's not.
Dude,
it's not
aerial photos of that course compared to 10 years ago. Did you see those flying
Oh, it's
around?
crazy. All of the sand hills that they have there and the wiregrass. It was awesome. This is going to do massive ratings. It was so good. But I'm going to give the triple B to Bryson just because of how he handled himself and how he's rehabbed his image. And some people say it's fake. I don't know how much of it is real, how much of it is fake. If he's faking all this, he's going all in.
Speaking of Kelderman Manufacturing, I did get a text from Jeff Kelderman. I was listening to the program. Close personal friends with Kid Rock.
Oh, so he's pissed at Van Wink's.
No, he's not pissed. He's not pissed at anyone. Everybody has their right to an opinion. Just saying he likes Kid Rock. He just wanted to chime in on the conversation. Matt, you were listening to Kid Rock this weekend, too?
I'd be worried if I was
What'd you
Van
listen
Wink's.
to?
What'd
you like?
You never met a mother effer quite like me. It's got my weekend vibe going, you know.
Which song is that?
Attaboy.
I play it.
You're going to get us kicked off YouTube.
No. You're going to get us kicked off YouTube. You're going to get us kicked off YouTube if you play that.
It's amazing, the YouTube algorithms. They pick anything up. It's crazy. All right. Your idea here.
Well, let's give credit to Talkman at the Register for
it was Talkman's idea.
Stoking this idea. No.
Okay.
He wrote an article
late
last week ranking the most intriguing games on Iowa's schedule.
Okay.
So I thought it would be good if I did that for Iowa on this show and you do it for Iowa State on
Let's
this
do it.
show.
That's a great idea.
And we discuss because Van Wink, I don't know if you're able to. I know Register's sometimes behind paywalls. If you can pull up his rankings.
Yep, I got him right here.
You do? Okay. Oh God, I think there was a hair on my microphone.
Oh, don't eat it. Don't eat it.
It was a small hair.
It's probably your own hair. There's nothing worse. I have a phobia. I hate going to public water facilities, and when you see the hair.
You see a pubic hair floating in the water?
Wet hair is my phobia. Wet. If it's dry, whatever.
Really?
Wet.
It's the wetness of it?
Yes. It's
Interesting.
disgusting. I freak out. If I have to go to the Adventureland water park. Oh.
Adventureland in Des Moines, Iowa.
Come on over to Adventureland.
I was at Adventureland campground yesterday for barbecue with some friends, and you don't want to go swimming in that campground pool.
That sounds horrible.
A campground pool? Oh my God.
It's 105 degrees.
I heard some stories.
Can I get real quick? I want to give you a really quick analysis on mine. So mine was hard.
Wait.
The top.
Okay.
I'm not skipping. I'm just overview. Iowa State's got 3 clear games that I think are really interesting, and then the rest, I can make arguments that they're all important because I feel like Iowa State's going to be in one of those schedules, Chris, where everything is within a touchdown as far as the spreads go. I don't think that they're going to be a huge dog in any of these. I don't think they're going to be a huge favorite in any of these. Theirs was really interesting to me, and it came down to the final 3, and I could make arguments for any of them. How hard was it to pick Iowa's for you?
I thought Iowa had a clear 6 games that were better than every other game, and weren't were kind of hard to separate because I think you could make arguments for a lot of different ones. Now, Talkman put Ohio State number 1, the game at Ohio State. I disagree with that. I don't think that's the most intriguing game because I don't think Iowa has much of a chance in that game. That seems to me like Iowa. It's going to be Iowa will be getting 14 points or something like that. When you look at how good Ohio State is supposed to be and what Iowa has done against those really good teams lately, there's not that much intrigue there other than to see can they bridge the gap? Have they bridged the gap? So that was his number 1, and he didn't think it was particularly close. But my number 1 is the Iowa State game. I think that's the most intriguing game because it's the first test. It's a true rival. It's a virtual toss-up in Vegas. the first look at this, the real first look at this Iowa offense and what they can do. This is the most intriguing because of where it comes on the schedule, what it means in the state, and the first look at the new offense. That is why I would put Iowa State as the most intriguing game on Iowa's schedule. And yeah, go ahead.
No, I think that's a good. I think it's definitely more
arguments
interesting
could be made,
than Ohio State.
I think arguments could be made for maybe 4 games or so on Iowa's schedule to be the most intriguing. It was close, but I'm going Iowa State because of the spot that it is on the schedule and just how much of a toss-up it is.
I'm with you that I wouldn't have Ohio State. I mean, it may be 5th. It's interesting because it's Ohio State. I don't have Iowa being a real factor in that.
It's interesting because it's the best team on their schedule by far.
Yeah. It's not the
it would be more interesting if it was in Iowa City. This is at Ohio State. That I just do not expect Iowa to be able to compete in that game.
If I were to do your list, I think I would put Nebraska, Minnesota, Wisconsin all ahead of Ohio State just because of that purpose. But, again, it's all about how we interpret these things. But you're right on that Iowa State game because it's just really going to dictate, and this is where I had a hard time ranking this game. I ended up putting the Kansas State game ahead of Iowa only because I just feel like Iowa State football, like we have to think differently now.
Mm-hmm.
And with this automatic bid to the playoff, and you have a real chance. I mean, you're one of the 4 favorites to win the Big 12. This is the last game of the year. It's very possible that the winner of this game on November 30th will go and play for the Big 12 championship, which would then go to the college football playoff. So that's why I put Kansas State here. But the argument I would make for Iowa is what we've talked about a lot with these Big 12 teams. Like that's a game where like the Big 12 and ACC are not going to get many opportunities against the Big 10 and the SEC.
That's a good point.
Going forward. So, like, this is a game where if you can win in Iowa City, it opens up so much more for you later on with a potential at-large or something like that. And maybe I'm wrong. I can hear the Iowa fans making fun of me now. Like, Chris, should you really be sitting here and you're already on June 17th saying that the playoff is the number one focus here? But hell yeah, it is. In this new setup with the new Big 12, if you're one of the 4 favorites to win the league, like you have a chance at it. Like it's a realistic little carrot out there for Iowa State. So, but if you lose the Iowa game, then it's like, oh, well, you suck in September. And it's the stuff that we heard about. Campbell can't beat Iowa consistently. All that. Winning that game would just fuel you and give you so much momentum going into what's a pretty realistic early start to the Big 12 schedule for Iowa State. So, I don't know. Like I put Kansas State 1 because I could see that being a monster game to get to the Big 12 championship on November 30th. How would you rank those two, Chris?
For Iowa State?
Yeah, you see where I'm going there, where I'm having this conversation.
I do. I would put Iowa ahead of that just because of where it is on the schedule, setting the tone for the season, the issues that Iowa State has had under Campbell starting off seasons. If you can go into Iowa City, win that game, really make a statement for the Big 12 conference, and then maybe reel off a bunch of wins in a row because your schedule's so backloaded with Utah and Kansas State to finish things, I would put Iowa ahead of that Kansas State game, and I might put Iowa as the number one game of the season. I think you could also make the argument from an Iowa side that Iowa fans who like to poo-poo the Iowa State game, like my dad, talk about, well, it doesn't mean anything. It's the Big Ten is what means something. I actually think that because the divisions are no more, because the conference is so big, the Big Ten games don't mean as much as they used to.
That's fair.
Because you really think you're going to be in the top 2 at the end of the year with this many teams in the conference, no divisions? I think that the Big Ten, I mean, when it was Big Ten West, yeah, I mean, that game against Wisconsin was everything. Because you felt like you win that game, you can go to the Big Ten championship game. It's not that way anymore now that everybody is in one division.
And I back it up to your entire point. Iowa's best chance to make a playoff going forward will be through an at-large.
Yes, no question.
Wins over Iowa State matter a lot more.
You can't lose to Iowa State if you're going to do that.
Right? Well, especially a year when Iowa State's supposed to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that could be an actual resume. Look at Iowa's schedule. It's not murderer's row. Like, that would be a resume boost if Iowa can beat Iowa State on September 7th.
What are we doing? So are we going to go back and forth here?
You give the rest of yours, and then I'll give the rest of mine. I thought that we had some, conversations that were interacting there.
So I'm going to disagree with you on Ohio State. It's not number one, but I'm going to put it number two for such an Iowa reason. I just want to see if they've bridged the gap against these great teams. Like, I want to see if instead of 27-0, that Iowa can be in this game in the fourth quarter. I want to see a 23-14 game. Like, I want to see if they can at least show that they belong on the same field. That's the intrigue for this game. And this is the only game all season where they are playing one of these behemoths, because they don't have to play, they don't have to play Oregon. They don't have to play Penn State. I don't know how good Michigan's going to be, but they don't have to play Michigan either. Can they score on a great team? That is why that is number two for me. But again, it's really close between all these.
Really interesting 4-week stretch there between September 7th and October 5th.
And there's a bye. There's a bye. They start the Big Ten play at Minnesota, and then there's a bye, and then at Ohio State. I thought about putting that Minnesota game 3 because it's the first Big Ten game, but I'm gonna put Nebraska just barely ahead of that. I like that rivalry more than the Minnesota rivalry. Even though Minnesota won last year. This game has been really good the last 6 or 7 times they've played. In fact, I think 6 of the last 7 times Iowa and Nebraska have played, it has been a final score decided by 7 or fewer points. Every time it's dramatic. Crazy things happen. And I want to see where Nebraska's at. Like, all this momentum that Matt Rule has. Where is Nebraska going to be? Is this? I feel like this is, well, we've been saying this a long time, but I feel like this is finally the year. They're going to already be in position for a bowl game. This could be a nationally ranked team. It's Black Friday once again. That is my third most intriguing game of the year, but it's not by much over Minnesota. Ferentz coming off his first loss to PJ Fleck. That was the punt return game. It
was a great win by Minnesota.
Yeah, right.
Fleck had
so
that
Minnesota's
team ready to
got
play.
Floyd. It's in Minnesota, and it's the first Big Ten game of the season. Like, you got to win this game because you've got Ohio State right after this. You can't go up there and lose, and then you're staring 0-2 in the Big Ten right in the face. You got to win
your
this
number
game.
now. Yeah.
And then my fifth most intriguing game is Wisconsin, and I can't.
It's crazy.
I can't ever think of a time where I would put Wisconsin this low on the schedule.
That's what I was going to say. Like, it's wild.
But it's just not going to mean as much now because Wisconsin isn't that big bad team that you have to go through to win the Big Ten West. There is no Big Ten West.
I want to thank you for not just succumbing to the pressure or the sexiness of the new teams and like, UCLA.
Oh yeah, that's
Thank you.
Now, I will say, I do have an honorable mention, and it's the Washington game.
Yeah.
It's at Kinnick. Washington's coming there. I would put that number 6. But Washington is not going to be the team that we saw last year. Totally new coaching staff, totally new team. They've lost Penix. They've lost Adunze. They've lost McMillan. They've their head coach is now at Alabama and Kalen DeBoer. I think they'll be on Iowa's level. So I think that's – what was the line, Van Winks, for that game right now, the look ahead? Iowa -4 or so?
Yeah, I just saw it on there. I sent this to you guys. I think it was 2 or 4. Yeah, I get some early lines from Circa here. It's Iowa -4, yeah.
-4. Okay.
It's Iowa -2 over Iowa State. I see right there.
Yeah, virtual toss-up.
Yep.
I am interested to see how Washington and that offense is going to be in the Big Ten, but it's not going to be in my top 5. I've got 4 rivalry games there, and Ohio State in my top 5, with Washington an honorable mention at 6, and then a big drop off to everybody else, including UCLA.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's really good stuff. Really good stuff. I'll give you Iowa State. So I said number 1 is Kansas State for me. I put Iowa at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, number 3, I think I could make the same argument that I made with the Kansas State game. It's just at Utah, because it's the way the schedule lines up. The last 2 games of the year are at Utah and Kansas State, and that's 3 of your 4 favorites to win the Big 12. So, historically, this is good for Iowa State because they tend to get better.
True. Yeah.
Right.
You're
so
totally backloaded here.
Yeah. If you're going to get, and, I screwed up here. At Kansas should have been number 4 for me, Maddie. I'm sorry. I sent
at
you.
Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah. November 9th.
Oh, right, because they're redoing their stadium.
No, at Kansas should be number 4 for me. I apologize for that. Yeah, it's a neutral field game there. I mean, they're going to be really good. Leipold's done an amazing job of bringing – they're really good in the NIL world. So you're looking at 3 of your 4 biggest games, November 9th through November 30th, if you're trying to win the Big 12. And I know that's everybody's goal at Iowa State.
Do you think that Kansas game is going to be more like a neutral setting because it's in Arrowhead?
Yes, absolutely. It absolutely will be, because Iowa State fans have already bought up tickets. I know hotels are getting full down there. That'll be a massive weekend in Kansas City. And in fact, I could almost even see Iowa State outdrawing them in Arrowhead. I really don't think that that's a stretch. And number 5 for me, I think I would probably put Texas Tech on November 2nd. So really, again, it's that
you're going
month of November. But
4 of the last 5 games are in your top 5.
I'm projecting that Texas Tech is a really bounce-back team this year. I think that McGuire and the way that they've recruited, I think that that's a team that's a dark horse to win the league. And, and I could make an argument like this is the hard part about Iowa State's schedule. Again, I think they're going to be pretty good, but they're going to be in a lot of one-score games, right? So if your kicker sucks or if you have a lot of turnovers, maybe you're hoping to go 10-2 and you're all of a sudden 7-5 pretty quickly. Or it's the other way around. Maybe you're supposed to go 7-5 and you could sneak up to 10-2 if you do the little things well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of these games, like at West Virginia, I even think Central Florida in Ames, it's like, I don't know what to expect from Malzahn's team. I think he's a pretty good coach. They're recruiting well. They have a ton of resources down there right now in this NIL world. I think a lot of these games have intrigue, but to me, the top 3 just stand out so far above the rest at Utah, at Iowa, and Kansas State. In a normal year, I think I would put Iowa as number 1, but this way that this playoff is and the way that the Big 12 is set up, I think I have to put Kansas State there as number 1. And
that is
the final game of the year.
Big 12 games are now more important for Iowa State, and I think Big 10 games are a little bit less important for Iowa. Not that they're not important, not that it's not still the a conference game.
If you're an Iowa fan, just think of it. Can we get to 10-2 every year? We're gonna have a good shot at an at-large.
10 and you're probably not going to win the Big 10. It used to be that a handful of games almost counted as 2 games, like the game against Wisconsin, game against Minnesota, game against Nebraska. It's not that way anymore now that everybody is in one conference, in one division within the conference.
Could I make the argument, too, that it's going to be better for Iowa to not make the Big Ten championship game?
It could be.
In most of these years?
It could be, yeah.
You'd be better off sitting at 9-3, like an impressive 9-3, than going 9-3 and making the Big Ten championship and getting beat by 30, as far as attracting voters.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just say they're 10-2. And They
Whatever.
missed the Big Ten championship game. They're sitting there as a potential at large, or let's say they're 10-2 and in the championship game. Sure, you've got this opportunity to get in and get a bye and win the Big Ten championship, but the way this team has been the last several years, it's hard to imagine being able to beat an Ohio State or an Oregon.
I don't think many 10-2 Big Ten teams will ever get left out of the playoff. I really don't.
It just went dark. It's
I don't
getting
know.
dark. Man, the thing just shut off. It's like my things were on a timer. We hit the hour mark and my lights just
God.
went off.
Your lights just randomly went off. You didn't do anything.
No, and wow.
Do you feel like you're being watched?
I think there's a ghost in here. I think it's a ghost with low T. A flaccid ghost.
Well, I wonder how my friends at Game Day Men's Health would go about injecting a ghost with testosterone.
Jesus, what are we doing? God, I should have never led you down this path.
Well done, Maddie Van Winks. We'll be back on Thursday. Hopefully, I'm gonna have my. I'm gonna keep working on my setup too.
I don't know. I kind of like your just old school
headsets today. Hey man,
You were at the
Pikachu.
racetrack all week. You're just ready to call some dirt track racing now.
Man, I do miss calling races. It was fun back in the day. It wasn't fun sleeping in the back of my Pontiac Sunfire because I couldn't afford a hotel, but it was fun calling all those races. I would get paid like anywhere from $50 to $75 a night, and then I would sleep in my car, and I would drive like 4 hours to the next race the next day.
You went
That was
from
my-
that to sitting there having caviar in the suite at Iowa
I didn't eat
Speedway for a
caviar.
cup race. You had
We
your
didn't have
blue cheese
caviar.
stuffed olives inside of a martini, pinky out, sipping it with your dad. Sick bastards.
You would have loved it. Hey, my friends at Musco, they're big fans. They want to bring you up to the Knoxville Nationals and have you sit in the suite on Saturday night. Swear to God, this is God's honest truth. I was going to have to text you about it. We have some other stuff that we got to do coming up in the summer, and I was like, maybe I can time it out where Hassel will come up here and sit in the suite with you.
When are the Knoxville Nationals?
It's usually like the second weekend in August.
I
We'll
might
see.
be on vacation then.
Where are you going to go?
I don't know. I just might have to plan a vacation for that
Oh,
week.
you're such a dick. They asked me, they're like, has Hassel ever been to the Nationals? I go, I bet he shot it for Channel 13, and he probably never
I got
wants to
in
go
big
back.
trouble, actually, and I have. I've been there several times for WHO. I did like some article once, and where I just shit all over the Knoxville Nationals. And I remember it got to like the dirt track racing message boards.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Don't piss those people
off. Oh, God. And I never went back. I haven't been back to Knoxville since. I mean, they've said, like, the guy that was in charge there had said, like, don't ever come back. Don't you ever come back.
See, they're so close-minded.
Well, I mean, I did.
Well,
I
it's
don't
fine,
remember
but-
exactly what I said.
But they're so sensitive. Like, that's the problem. Like, instead of going like, oh, that's funny and it's publicity for our sport, they, like, act like you were insulting their mom.
I might have insulted their parents too. It was, look, I was like 25. I was just writing an article just for the hell of it. I was saying things I didn't really mean, and they got pissed. Rightfully
Appreciate
so.
you.
Rightfully
Good stuff today. Good stuff today. Maddie Van Winks, thank you as always for the great production here on Two Guys. We are presented by our friends at Fareway Meat and Grocery. Signing off from the Channel Seed Studios. My name is Chris Williams for Chris Hassel and Matt Van Winkle. We will be back on Thursday.